Caitlin Clark is more than just the WNBA's new face. Her game-changing performances have single-handedly pulled women's basketball into the spotlight. Yet, in a twist that no one saw coming, the league now finds itself scrambling after she suffered a troubling quadriceps strain. While injuries happen in sports all the time, new footage suggests that Clark's misfortune might not be the mere product of bad luck.
Look at this. Look at this. See that? Grabbing, physically grabbing her, applying pressure, pushing her. Look at Brittany Griner.
Instead, it appears she was systematically targeted by opponents with a level of physicality that veered well outside the norm. As shock and anger ripple across the fan base, we're left wondering, how did we get here? And what does this mean for the WNBA's golden star going forward?
Finally, a player that's worth paying the money for. Caitlin Clark comes along. What do, WNBA? You beat her up. You treat her like crap. You treat her like she's dog doo-doo, dude. I never seen this in any sport, bro. Not even Jordan.
Right after reports confirmed that Caitlin Clark would miss games to nurse her injured quad, video clips started circulating online. In those clips, multiple defenders swarm her with relentless elbows, shoves, and sheer force. At first, fans assumed it was standard, tough basketball. But slow-motion replays made them do a double take. Clark's jersey being grabbed, her arm wrenched backward, her shooting lanes abruptly slammed shut by bodies that seemed more interested in collision than clean defense. People who watched these replays felt outrage brewing. They argued that this clearly went beyond standard contact. In a league that thrives on skillful finesse, seeing Clark knocked around left many viewers thinking this looked more like a low-budget wrestling match. Suddenly, the conversation shifted from praising Clark's incredible shooting range to questioning the officiating that allowed such heavy contact.
Look at this. Look at how physical they are. Now, granted, Caitlin Clark has been in the weight room this season, but I'm telling you right now, there is only so much your body can take, man. Look at how close Ryan Howard playing her. This is crazy. And this is just one video. I got another one I want to show you guys as well.
Blogs, social media, and sports shows lit up with the same burning question. Could this barrage of fouls or non-calls be what ultimately forced the best young player in women's basketball onto the bench? Before any official announcement, eagle-eyed fans at preseason scrimmages noticed something off around Caitlin Clark's left thigh. She kept using heating pads on the sideline, even between plays. A few times during warm-ups, she would pause, seemingly testing or massaging the quad. Occasionally, she'd wince, just for a split second, before straightening up and returning to the flow of the game.
Caitlin Clark has been moving in slow motion. As good as she's been moving in slow motion. And it is, it makes sense. It genuinely makes sense. All of this stuff. And you've got Scott Agnes, a reporter, saying that the injury has been bothering her since training camp. So she's been playing. So essentially, she was massaging the area and wearing a pad during the Iowa preseason game. They're saying lower leg injury for some reason. Minor quad strains need 2 to 4 weeks of rest, and they can nag you.
Most fan bases have grown used to seeing star athletes tough out mild strains or bruises. After all, the WNBA has a compressed schedule, making each game feel crucial. Clark's unstoppable hustle further fed the idea that she was fine. She continued posting near double-doubles, sinking deep threes, and distributing highlight reel passes. Few people realized she was simultaneously managing a nagging injury that, if not properly rested, could escalate into a serious problem. Experts point out that quad strains are notorious for unpredictable recovery timelines. Unlike a simple bruise, a partial muscle tear, or lingering strain may require weeks of total rest.
People are noting that a grade 1 quad strain is 1 to 2 weeks, a grade 2 quad strain is 3 to 6 weeks, and grade 3s would need surgery. This is not like the end of the world of injuries at all. I think what is so dark about this is that Caitlin Clark will definitely be missing a lot of basketball in a short WNBA season. Obviously, the best thing to do is to rest her so that when she does come back, she is fully healed and the injury can't get worse. Though it is hard to measure when these types of injuries are better, I will say having a quadricep injury is much better than having like a calf injury or a hamstring injury. And I have to say that I did notice in the Liberty game, Caitlin Clark's shots were all very short. So it was showing that she wasn't like getting off and she was having a difficult time making those threes, and a lot of explosiveness from those 3-point shots does come from your legs. Her shot was just so obviously off, and for it to be short, it kind of makes a little sense.
And can easily flare up if the player returns too soon. When the official word came that Caitlin Clark needed at least 2 weeks off, fans were caught off guard, especially given her consistency. She hadn't missed a single game dating back to her sophomore year of high school. This was not the typical story of a star dealing with minor aches. It was a wake-up call about how months of abuse on the court can wear down even the most impressive athlete. Now, the WNBA faces a dilemma. Will the league accept responsibility for not protecting her, or brush it off as just how the game is played? To understand how things got this bad, you have to look at the officiating. On paper, contact above a certain threshold is a foul, no ifs, ands, or buts. Yet fans and sports writers alike have been raising eyebrows over the blatant non-calls. Some coaches have complained about a glaring free throw disparity in back-to-back games, with their teams on the losing side of the whistle. Several of those matchups featured Clark taking drive after drive to the rim, getting hammered without hearing a single whistle in her favor. In one widely shared moment, with the game on the line, Clark made a cut toward the basket and was clearly bumped hard enough to disrupt her balance. The defender's arm snagged her jersey, but the officiating crew allowed the play to continue. Even the opposing team's local commentators said something like, "Wow, that's a lot of contact there." Expecting a late whistle, none came. Clark landed awkwardly and ended up walking gingerly up the court. Such incidents didn't happen. Once or twice, they became a recurring sight, fueling suspicions that referees had essentially declared open season on her. Coaches from multiple teams spoke out, but nothing seemed to change. You'd think a player who breaks TV ratings whenever she touches the ball would get some measure of protection. Instead, the league's biggest source of new viewership seemed singled out for abuse. A wave of social media threads, talk show segments, and editorial columns questioned whether this conspicuous lack of calls was a misguided attempt by the WNBA to generate dramatic rivalries. But if that was truly the plan, it is backfiring in a way that could harm the league's reputation for good.
The commissioner is the worst commissioner in sports. She is horrible. She wants rivalries, this WWE style. Like, nobody wants to see that, Kathy. You're a horrible commissioner. You know what? Have some dignity and just resign today. You ruined this thing. You ruined a great thing. This could be the first time you don't need the NBA assistants to go in the green. But you're going to go in the red this year because you're an idiot. You're stupid, and the fans don't like this shit. We want to see quality basketball. Nobody's asking for Caitlin Clark to get a handout. We just want to see some fair refereeing, because these referees from Temu and Wayfair, they're garbage, bro. I seen better refereeing at a Pee Wee game, bro, at AAU. They suck. And then on top of that, the players, they're just not likable, man. They're not. That's the problem with the league. They're not likable. Caitlin Clark's likable.
The frustration of fans is woven into a deeper financial panic. Caitlin Clark's arrival in the WNBA wasn't simply about having one more talented guard, it was about an explosion in commercial viability. Networks that once hesitated to broadcast weeknight women's basketball games suddenly wanted live coverage when Clark was on the court. ESPN, in a rare move, televised a WNBA preseason game specifically to showcase her. Ratings soared past the 1 million viewer mark, and in certain matchups, reached 2 to 3 million peaks. For context, that kind of popularity is gold in the modern fragmented television landscape. This ripple effect extended to ticket sales. Before Clark joined the league, many WNBA franchises struggled to fill seats. Once she suited up, ticket prices skyrocketed and entire sections sold out within hours. The local hospitality industry felt the lift. Hotels near her team's arena reported higher weekend occupancy rates. Bars and restaurants saw surges in foot traffic, and even merchandise vendors noticed lines of fans clamoring for anything with Clark's name on it. But the flip side is that all those gains stand on shaky ground when the main attraction is suddenly unavailable.
Be here with you guys today. If there wasn't any worry going on in the WNBA executive offices, if there was no worry, oh, people aren't going to turn off, oh, people are still going to show up, if that was the thought that they were having up there in WNBA La La Land, well, now might be the time to hit the panic button. 48 hours after news hits that Caitlin Clark is injured and she'll be missing 2 weeks, the market has responded and the market has told the WNBA, we don't want this. We want her, but we don't want this. What am I talking about? Indiana Fever ticket prices to games over the next 2 weeks have dropped 42% since Caitlin Clark's injury announcement, an average ticket price of $137 all the way down to $80.
Within a day of Clark's injury announcement, ticket resale prices for upcoming games plummeted by over 40%. Scalpers who'd banked on hot crowds found themselves slashing prices in desperation. Online chatter from casual fans shifted from hype about her unstoppable three-point range to disappointment that they might not see her play at all. In short, the WNBA faces a harsh truth. Letting rough play run rampant against Caitlin Clark puts the league's financial windfall at grave risk. Step past the swirling dollar signs and you'll find the human element. Caitlin Clark's grit, her poise, even her playful trash talk on the court, it all resonated on a personal level for viewers. She was that rare athlete who could engage diehard and casual watchers alike, bridging generational gaps much like a Michael Jordan or LeBron James in the men's game. Fans near and far were calling her the future of women's basketball, banking on her to elevate the WNBA's brand and draw global attention. Now, she's sidelined, and the emotional fallout can't be ignored. Her teammates appear visibly demoralized, not just because they know they'll miss Clark's game-winning shots, but because they saw how many times referees failed to protect her. Some of them expressed quiet outrage at post-game pressers, hinting that this player's body was worn down by constant hits that went unpenalized. Even rival fans, those who respect good competition, are unsettled by the idea that the best in the league can be bullied with impunity. In that light, the WNBA is jeopardizing more than its box office potential. It risks losing the trust and admiration of fans who want to see skilled, dynamic play flourish. If a star as transcendent as Caitlin Clark can't be safeguarded from grime-level tactics, then what does that say about the league's integrity? That's the question overshadowing each new highlight reel showing Clark limping, rubbing her thigh, and cringing after taking yet another body blow. It's no secret that tensions simmer behind the league's closed doors. Some insiders suggest the commissioner's office welcomed a more physical brand of basketball to spark rivalries and storylines, borrowing from how the NBA once encouraged gritty matchups to boost ratings. However, that approach in the context of a single star player, who already carries immense responsibility for the league's growth, can feel reckless. There's a clear difference between allowing strong defense and permitting borderline aggression that verges on foul play. Now that Clark's sidelined, the WNBA must decide if it's willing to pivot. Will there be a crackdown on overt contact and a renewed emphasis on calling fouls where they're deserved? Do the other star players get similar scrutiny, or is it mainly about protecting Caitlin Clark's unique stature? With so much money and credibility at stake, the league can't afford half measures. If it clings to denial, it may learn exactly how quickly new fans can lose interest. Some rumor mills even speculate about Clark's long-term future. If she believes the environment is unsafe, might she consider other options down the line, like overseas leagues, or even brand endorsements that don't rely on in-season action? It's a stretch, but stranger things have happened in professional sports when star athletes feel unappreciated or unprotected. Already, there's talk that if the WNBA fails to address officiating prudently, it might drive other upcoming talents to think twice about whether this league can foster their growth. Injuries are an unfortunate reality of sports, but the story surrounding Caitlin Clark's quadriceps strain is more complicated than a routine rehab timeline. Evidence points to persistent targeting, overlooked by officials, that chipped away at her durability until she had no choice but to sit out. It's a sobering moment for a league that desperately wants to build momentum. After all, Clark's unstoppable jumpers and fearless play fundamentally redefined WNBA viewership, at least for a few electrifying months. So, where does this leave us? As fans await news on how quickly she can recover, there's also a broader reckoning for the WNBA. Does it continue risking the health of its brightest star by allowing excessive physicality to go unchecked? Or does it recognize Clark's unmatched importance and step up protections swiftly and decisively? A significant chunk of the league's future rests on that choice. If the WNBA embraces what Clark represents, growth, excitement, cultural crossover, then it must guard her from dirty plays and blatant abuse. Failing to do so puts everything at risk. Fan trust, sponsor dollars, media attention, and possibly the very next generation of female basketball icons. She's given everything to elevate the league, and many believe it's past time for the league to return the favor. For now, all eyes remain on Caitlin Clark's health updates. Whatever the official stance, everyone knows that if the WNBA loses Clark's presence for too long, it may well lose the intoxicating spark she ignited. The next few weeks will be a test of priorities. Are short-term dramatics worth far more than the sustained brilliance of a once-in-a-generation talent? Only the league's actions or inaction will show us the truth.